All right, so as I kick off every meeting, I remind you all that this is a public and recorded meeting of the Kubernetes community, and today is August 18th. We have an exciting agenda ahead of us, particularly exciting if we can't get the demoing bit working shortly. But the demo this morning is the Kubernetes Distributed Trust Computing in Practice by Matthew Garrett of CoreOS. We also have queued up for today's meeting special interest group reports from Docs. Philip and Jared, are you guys on the line? This might be a very exciting meeting. All right, I will follow up with Philip and Jared. We have Dan Romline, who is talking about SIG-UI, and I see Dan, so thank you, Dan. Hello, you may be first up. It's a possibility.
All right, I'm ready.
Then we have the working group Contribex, where we have Garrett Rodriguez talking about what's been going on in that space. And are you also going to be talking?
Maybe.
Maybe. Antoine might be talking as well. All right. Then we also have an update on the 1.4 features. We had a good burn down meeting yesterday, and Ihor is going to lead us through that. So let's see what my chat says. My chat says that, Dan, you are going to be up first. We're going to go a little out of order. But before Dan starts, 1 second, I do actually need note takers. So if someone can jump into the meeting doc and take notes, that would be super helpful. We'll go way out of order today and just do fun and entertaining ad hoc agenda. So Dan, take it away. Introduce yourself and tell us what's going on in SIG-UI.
All right, hi everyone. My name's Dan Romline. As Sarah mentioned, I'm a UX designer with Apprenda, and I've been working on the dashboard UX most recently. Just transferred over design files to Piotr, who's the design lead for the project, this morning to start working on the navigation for that. So that's in development, and if you'd like to check it out, it's issue 908. We've got the left-hand navigation figured out. Basically showing all objects, resources within Kubernetes, and exposing those so you can navigate between them and see different objects you're interacting with. And some of the other aspects of the UI, the Chrome, the action bar, are still a little bit in flux, and we're still working on those details, but we're feeling solid about the navigation, and encourage you to go check that out there. And there's screenshots and an Envision prototype link to that if you'd like to see what we ended up with for the side nav. Other updates as far as the SIG-UI, the next release of dashboard is going to be 1.4. We're syncing up with the main Kubernetes versioning scheme, which I'm looking forward to. Currently we're on 1.1. We will be on 1.4 in 4 to 5 weeks to late September timeframe. The three top priorities for us looking into that release into 1.5 are, I'm going to mention the issues here, 9.6.1, which is closing the gap between CLI and dashboard. And we're going to try to get to 90% parity with 1.4 in just displaying resources that you can interact with in Kubernetes in the dashboard. 9.6.2, monitoring and troubleshooting. We know that's a big feature that people like to use dashboard for, and is a big asset using the visual strengths of dashboard. So we have, Piotr briefed me on all this morning to kind of bring me up to speed. We have Piotr's intern, also named Piotr, recently, working on monitoring graphs for CPU and memory. So anything with those characteristics, we can have graphing visualizations around, I think, in the 2-week time frame. So that will be ready for 1.4 as well. And then with 1.5, we'll look ahead to being able to drill down to those graphs and monitoring and get some more granular, informative data from them. Third focus area, security auth and login, and that's been deferred to 1.5 now. We had 2 guys who were working on this, and they've been put in another project, so that's still our third priority, but it's going to be a 1.5 timeline. So that's enough work for the dashboard team for a couple of months. And then beyond that, we're looking to put together a sprint, a Google design sprint around KubeCon. We're thinking the 2nd to 6th of November, so that we can look ahead to the next scope of work and fill up our queue to pull from of what our priorities are and what we really want to see incorporated into dashboard. So if you know of anyone interested in attending the sprint, send them to either me or Piotr. We're working out the logistics of that now, but KubeCon's in Seattle, so we'll likely have it at the Google campus there. And like I mentioned, the 2nd to 6th of November is the dates we're tentatively looking at. So that's my update for the SIG-UI.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. Does anybody have questions for Dan about SIG-UI or how to get involved? Do you guys have regular meetings?
We do. Every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time.
10 a.m. Eastern. Okay. All right. Anyone have questions? Okay, thank you, Lachlan, for taking notes. Dan, if you can go take a peek at the document and maybe flesh them out a little bit for specific points that you want to make, that would be super helpful as well. That way we make sure we get the things noted. All right, so rumor has it that Matthew and the demo are possible now. So thank you, Dan, for stepping up with the interstitial to keep us entertained and informed about the special interest group UI. So Matthew, are you ready? If you are ready, we cannot hear you.
We're working on this.
I click on use.
Okay, so we have audio. This isn't important, but it's from Eric, which is fine. You're in the same room, so he could talk.
Okay.
We might just share audio through my machine.
That's fine.
Can you, Matthew, can you start sharing? Maybe if you, here, 1 second.
I see him connected.
Start sharing, right on the bottom right, yeah.
Success. All right. So
okay.
Matthew Garrett talking to us about we've stolen my screen, so I don't have my my cheat sheet now.
So can you see
anything
I'm seeing?
We see black right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we got nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we're seeing, unfortunately.
Okay, so this is not working so well. I'm really glad that we're using video chat that doesn't suck.
Okay, so let's go with sucks less in different ways.
Yes.
Right.
Video chat.
Are you using
Is
WebEx?
anyone here using a Mac? No.
No, we're not using WebEx.
We may have to just defer.
I'm really
until a
sorry.
different time.
This
No.
I'm repeatedly hitting share screen and I'm getting nothing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can revisit next week and move on to the next item in the agenda. Well, not next week, because next week I have a different demo scheduled, but 2 weeks? We will do that.
Okay. You need to stop sharing.
We'll give it a shot. Okay, so we are going to not do demos, deferred due to technical. Hey, Lachlan, thank you for the wonderful notes. They're great. So let's go on to the rest of the SIG reports at this point. SIG docs, I'm still working on getting an update on. So let's talk about working group Contribex.
Sure. Actually, can I share my screen?
Here's hoping.
Let's try.
Can you all hear Garrett? Okay.
Slow motion. Okay. So if you go to the community wiki, we've had an issue for a while that was to improve the PR workflow automation and actually define what the workflow should be. So if you click on the workflow definition, we've got this document, and a couple of us have been working on defining what a good PR workflow should be, starting from the issue level or the author submitting it. And a few of us turned it into like kind of a finite state machine. So at any point in the PR process, you should be able to figure out which state you're in. Have you signed the CLA yet? Have owners been assigned? And from there, the goal is to have it be abundantly clear whose court the ball's in, so that we can get PRs merged as quickly as possible. We're working on tracking some statistics on time between submitting a PR and it actually being merged, or even like the first LGTM and it being merged. So we have some statistics on where the slowdowns are in this pipeline. I think we're about 30% done implementing it, but this is the idea, is to have a workflow like this so that we can clearly define the process for submitting a PR and getting it merged. Let's see. As far as things that are complete, I think we've got a CLA bot. There's another one, since we're changing to the CNCF CLA. That's being changed slightly. We have something that's gonna work for pinging people. So it'll figure out who took the last action. Did the author change a file recently? If so, then the reviewer needs to be looking next. If the reviewer has LGTM'd it and it's still not being merged and the tests aren't passing, then it goes back to the author. So there are all these various states, and we've got bots working to try and figure out what they are automatically, so that the ultimate goal is that they keep the submit queue as clean as possible. I think that's all I wanted to cover. So we also talked about different strategies for, or different ways that people work. So some people like being pinged or getting emails and have that like interrupt workflow where I don't work on anything unless I'm notified. But the alternative is more of like a polling structure where you can actually look and see what issues have been assigned to you. So if I look and I don't know, I'm going to look up Antoine's issues, and I can see all of the issues that are assigned to someone, all the ones that are incoming, all the ones that I've authored and require status updates for someone else. So there's this, I guess, the PR dashboard as well, which people can use to kind of see, track the progress of their issues. Yeah, that's all I got.
Was there anything broader on the working group? You showed that front page and of all the working group pieces of work. So when is the working group meeting, and how and where would you like people to contribute and help if they have time and effort?
There's a Slack channel for the working group, and I think we meet once every other week. I'll add that to the document. I'll add the meeting time to the document and I'll link to it.
Perfect. Oh, that's right, because it's been moving around. It's Thursday at 11 a.m., but which alternating Thursday?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Not today.
Not today. Okay. Fantastic.
Also, there should be a Google group, I think. And so if you join that Google group, you should get the calendar invite with the Zoom address and all the stuff you need.
Fantastic. Thanks for the info. All right, and that was Philip, I believe. So, Philip, you were going to do a bit of a docs update, correct?
Oh, I thought Jared was leading that, actually.
Well, then Jared's not able to join us this morning, so okay. So this is going to be one of those mornings, apparently, because we also had challenges with the demos. All right, so we've had two separate one contributor experience update, one UI update. I guess that is kind of an experience update. And we will move on to our next agenda item. We can just redo Thursday, right? Okay, so Ihor, are you online?
I'm online.
Of course, hooray. Thank you, Ihor.
Yes, someone is online. Yes, so yesterday, as you mentioned already, we had a burn down meeting regarding features that are going to be included to 1.4 release, and we have moved some features to the scope of 1.5. At the same time, the most of the releases, the features that are going to be added to 1.4 release that initially have been added in the scope of 1.4 are going to be finalized in like some states starting from alpha state, but are going to be added to 1.4 release. So I've pasted the same document that I've shared on the previous meeting, the same spreadsheet, where we are tracking all that stuff to the docs, to our meeting notes, so everyone may take a look there and find something useful for them. So another major important update for someone who is interested in contributing and still contributing to 1.4 release, that we have moved the soft code freeze from Friday to Monday. So Monday midnight, I suppose that PST time, that will be like a real soft code freeze. So if you're expecting your feature to be added to 1.4, please finalize it before Monday midnight time. And also we have like an option with some feature exceptions. We had like TJ Goldman sent a mail with it's like a template. What should you do if you'd like to see your feature as an exception for this release? But again, so it has to be like an early urgent case. So again, this is the last call for all the people who are going to add their features 1.4. Please finalize them before Monday. And that's all from me.
Excellent. Does anybody have questions about the code freeze, about features, about status on particular things? No. Wow, we have had all these very long-running meetings that we've had lots of discussion for the last many months, and now.
I can ask a really silly question, but I feel silly for asking it because I know I was invited to the feature burn down meeting on Wednesday, but I actually had a conflict, so I wasn't able to attend. I'm looking at the spreadsheet here, and the 1.4 tab has a lot of items, and there's a stage column that has things like before alpha or initial release or write code. Those all sound like really like not released things. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's unclear to me looking at this spreadsheet, like what is actually functional for some definition of functional for 1.4. Like I don't actually understand what 1.4 is going to look like entirely based on this, just because the stage column makes me think that many of these features are not really complete.
Well, the spreadsheet has been updated from the feature repo on the GitHub, and it like reflects the actual state of these features, of the feature issues on a GitHub. Meaning that these features are like in a before alpha or like writing docs or something like that, means like simply reflecting the actual state of these features. So the most of features are going to be added only in alpha state because they have initially only like prepared and they haven't been really finalized to be really added as a full feature to be used in a real product. But at the same time, these features are real and these features are expected to be added to the release.
Which I get, I guess, I'm saying, sort of looking at this spreadsheet, it looks like almost all of these features are going to be in a partially implemented, not even alpha state. And it's unclear to me like what the release notes would look like.
So Aaron, I would subtly shift that. So the before alpha, in the feature template, before alpha is the list of all the things that are required to get to alpha state. So if they are currently in before alpha and targeted for this release, I would expect them to be alpha in this release. I think Please tell me, Ihor, if that's wrong, that that's the way we should be reading this.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, maybe like ready for alpha or like, you know, passes alpha criteria or something, just because it seems like that means it's past the gate. So maybe what you're saying is everything that's in before alpha is actually going to ship and is functional, is going to have release notes and all that good stuff.
And should
Yeah, I
be
get it.
alpha state.
Yeah, I get it. So I will like we'll make it more informative. So sorry about it.
Okay, cool. No, thanks. That clears things up a bunch. And then like my other concern is the TBD column or all the TBD values next to the shepherd. And I understand maybe this is just a learning process for us as a community. We're trying out this process and only a few people were willing to sign up to be shepherds, but maybe the shepherd thing isn't working out so well. Maybe we should give it another shot. I don't know. It seemed interesting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the features don't have their shepherds at the moment. So we have to work on that.
On the plus side, we've gotten to the point where most of them have a special interest group assigned. So it is certainly the first try through this process.
Yes.
All right, and to your question, Aaron, I don't think that was a silly question at all. I think it was a very important question, so thank you. Which leads me to recommending to everyone else who thinks they have a silly question, please feel free, ask, because that really did clarify something for me, because I had looked at that feature template a number of times and I just read those as, you know, this will be alpha. They're in the phase of getting all the checkboxes for alpha and didn't realize it was not clear. All right.
And that is a good point. So yeah, thank you for raising it up. Possibly we'll work on that and possibly ask suggestions for the property as well.
Yes.
So Tara, go ahead, please.
Maybe it ends up being another column that is so current status and targeted for 1.4 would be alpha or beta or whatever. Okay. Does anyone else have special interest group updates? I was trying, is anyone from SIG-Storage? Haha, someone from SIG-Storage is here.
Bum, bum, bum.
So SIG-Storage had what I heard was a very good offsite last week, if I'm remembering my weeks correctly. And I sent out a note to the mailing list to hear if we could have an update, but I hadn't seen any answer. Are you game, Michael, on the spot?
I'm game. If there's anyone else here from storage, though, I mean, I talk a lot, so I'm very open to having someone else talk if someone wants to grab it.
Is there someone else from SIG-Storage that wants to talk about the offsite? Maybe.
All right, then I'll dive into it. So we organized a group to meet in San Jose at the Diamante office. Thanks, big shout out to Gopal and the Diamante team for letting us do that. We had a few goals, and we actually met most of those goals, if not all. One of those goals was to design features that were quite contentious in what we needed to do. The most important one was dynamic claim provisioning, which not only ironed out a lot of the subtle problems, but we were able to design it well enough that I believe today it got merged in. So we actually got it to make inside the 1.4 release. Don't quote me completely on that, but that is what I heard through the grapevine in the hallways this afternoon.
That's astonishing.
Which is pretty astonishing, because I think if we hadn't done that face-to-face, it wouldn't have made it in that release. Or, you know, yes, that was productive. And we spent hours and hours going over that. In addition, we discussed what areas of investment we need to make the storage area more, make us more confident when we make changes in the storage area, that those changes will not explode or create surprises for Kubernetes. We talked about testing for several hours, and then not only talked about testing, but we came up with a plan, and we should be tracking that plan. If anyone wants to know more about it, please come to the Storage SIG. We'll find out, actually, the proof is in the pudding. If we're going to act on the plan that we have in place, but that's the goal. We did a lot of kind of, you know, hugging and hello, and it was good to sort of meet people and find out what their motivations were. We spent a lot of time on the postmortem for what was going on in 1.3. We talked about snapshot as a feature. We began to touch upon replication that we also all agreed was way too small. We discussed features in general. We began to discuss security and then realized that that probably was a broader conversation that should happen in the SIG, and that's outside of the storage SIG. And in general,
trying to think, what else did we discuss? A lot of these conversations went on for many hours, and we kind of met at 9 in the morning, and we left, 6 or 7 o'clock at night with more things to do. I think everyone there agreed that it was a good use of time. Arguably, some people felt, and I kind of agree, that we maybe over-debated a few issues, but overall, it was a productive session, and it led to action, as opposed to just needing to hang out and be social. There was about 20 or 30 people there, if you count everyone on GVC, which was, I heard, one of the highest attended meetings for the storage organization. Other than that, I think one of the other things that we did is a bug scrub. We scrubbed about 100 bugs, and we started outlining how we want to manage our bugs in the storage SIG going forward, which we all agree we need to do a better job of. So we didn't just focus on features. We didn't just focus on being social. We also tried to focus on maybe having a more mature approach to how we're going to debug and manage our system going forward. And like I said, the proof will be in the pudding. Either A, the next time we do this, which we scheduled one for KubeCon in November, they'll, if there is no progress, we're going to have to change how we approach it. But I'm already seeing progress based on both feature development and then how we have outlined a set of things that we want to start writing tests for. And that's it. Anyone have any questions or things that they want to bring up or things that they thought we should have talked about that we didn't? Resounding interest. Wonderful.
Yes, storage is just one of those things everyone presumes works, and we trust you to do it right and well.
I've got a question if you want a question.
Yes.
So how did you handle, so you are going to do dynamic PV provisioning, and you're going to have, does that mean the storage class or storage classes are going into 1.4?
It actually just merged. Yes, Eric.
So does that mean I can still use the old alpha annotation to ask for dynamic provisioning, or I can use a storage class field?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I don't know who else is chiming in, but I agree with them.
And what happens if I use the new thing and then I roll back my API server to the old version?
It will probably not work.
Okay, maybe I'll have a conversation with you guys when I get in the office today.
Yeah, I think your PV won't get cleaned up on claim deletion. Would be the,
who had a better answer than I did?
So who was actually speaking there?
Who's speaking?
Paris.
Eric Paris. There we go. Hey, Eric
So
Paris.
runtime, Eric, I think you're going to be okay, but like dynamic provisioning won't be able to clean itself up.
Okay, and is it going to be sensitive to the order in which the API server versus the controller manager are upgraded?
I think what you're basically asking here, Eric, is given that we've put this feature into 1.4 and did we take enough of the questions of upgrading into account as we have now been looking at the proposal? And I am sure that I know there's been some thoughts about upgrading and rolling back, but I know not nearly enough to withstand the Eric Toon, interrogation, which is actually really cool. And the fact that you're interested in this makes me happier. So please, when you come in, start firing off these questions on the storage SIG email list, and let's start responding to what we have covered and what we need to think about. We still have 3 more weeks for 1.4, so we have room to maneuver.
Awesome. Cool feature.
Cool. Like, this is why it's great to have the community and, have people jump in and ask these things.
And as I said, no questions are dumb questions, which is important because a lot of people who might be thinking that that these are obvious questions it turns out they're not in most cases.
Nobody expects the eTune Inquisition. That's true, and we really should. Actually, that's a great t-shirt.
That is a great t-shirt, yes. All right. Any other special interest groups that have met or have updates against 1.4 that they want to share? Because code freeze is coming. No more updates on that. All right. Then unless someone was on mute. No, it was just Lachlan doing video. All right. Anyone else have topics, questions? We'll call this open floor, or want to make introductions of themselves if you haven't participated in this meeting, this chaotic meeting before.
I guess just one question, given the push off of the 1.4 code/date. When can we expect the next 1.4 alpha or beta to get cut?
That's a mighty good question. Do we have anyone who?
Phil Whitrock is the official 1.4 release czar.
Phil is here.
And if he's in the room, that's probably the person we should be asking.
Phil, are you on mute?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Alpha, beta.
I need to actually follow up with David on that.
Okay, that's totally fine. Like a email to the Kubernetes dev mailing list or announce or something would be great. I just want to understand when I can look for the next binary to start testing ahead of the game.
Okay, yeah.
Which makes me so happy. Heart, Aaron, because one of the big things out of 1.3 was we didn't get enough people playing with the betas and the alphas, and so we didn't get some of the early bugs fleshed out. So everyone, please, as we release alphas and betas, play with them, run them through whatever weird use cases you might think of. Start using them for your day-to-day whatever, and see what you can find, because we've had this we've had it come up a couple of times that we always make a 0.1 release really quickly on the heels of our 0.0 release, and if we can get more testing of the alphas and betas, that is a huge step toward making those more stable. There will always be edge cases, there will always be bugs, but the more testing we can do ahead of time on those early releases, the better we will all be set up for a stable release with the 0.0.
Another way of saying it is, if you really want to get the developer's attention of any feature in Google or out, saying that this is something that's in the beta is really when everyone's most attentive. Mm-hmm. So it's such a wonderful place to be heard. Like there's basically the cake is on fire after the party is started, and it's like, yeah, we'll get to it. And then you're about to throw the party, and then the cake's on fire, and then it's like, oh my gosh, we should fix it. What a great time.
Okay, so cake fires.
Yeah, my metaphors are bad.
Right. So we want to light the cake fire before the release. All right. Before the party starts. Excellent. All right. How about anyone else with random thoughts, comments? What kind of cake lights on fire? Anyone with candles in it, of course. All right. Anyone else with questions, open topics, discussions, things that they want to bring to the fore? Really? We're going to have another short meeting. I'm going to have to put more content in these again. For a while, I had pulled back on the content because we were running to like a minute before and trying to stuff another conversation in.
Hey, this is Paul from Red Hat. Sarah, do we have enough consensus in the mailing list to start the service catalog SIG?
Tell me about the service catalog SIG. I think that's a great, yes, I think we have enough consensus, and I would say it's worth talking about it here to make sure that no one has any really scary, reasons we shouldn't, but I don't see a reason we shouldn't so far.
Yes, so just to give the verbal version of the post to the mailing list, basically among the different member organizations of the Cloud Native Compute Foundation, we've been discussing this notion of a service catalog, which is about as a service operator or someone that created a recipe of some type for running an instance of a service. I want to publish the fact that my service exists or that my recipe exists, and as a consumer or potential consumer of those things, I want to be able to search for them. I want to be able to make a claim on a service and use it in my namespace. So just drilling very quickly into what that means. If excuse me, if I want to use a service, I will get injected into my namespace, maybe a service resource that I can use, maybe a secret with credentials, maybe config map with some other non-secret information about it. And the proposal is to create a SIG to discuss what this means for Kubernetes and to eventually arrive upon a very cubish way to leverage these notions so that we can facilitate the development of marketplaces where a service operator might want to establish a commercial relationship with the consumer, and where we can have a good exchange of recipes and services. EOF.
So Lachlan asks, how does this differ from Helm?
So it differs from any specific solution for this in that it is meant to be agnostic of whatever the details of whatever orchestration tool you're using as a start. And I'm not fully up to date in any way on Helm, but if perhaps someone can answer the question for the group.
I can probably take that one, Paul. So the idea of a service catalog is allowing someone who has an application who needs to consume services that are exposed by other people in the organization. Those may not be services that are created and owned. The component Paul was referring to, that if you ask for some services to be, you want to use a service, some of those services might be dynamically provisioned, in which case the back end for the dynamic provisioning might be Helm or another mechanism.
Okay, so it sounds like Lachlan's happy with the answer. Does anybody else have follow-ons on that, or we have a new eTune Inquisition? Okay, so Eric says, this sounds like it has a lot of overlap with API management products. Is API management for Kubernetes in scope of this new SIG?
There is an interesting overlap between what is an API and what is a service that I think should be part of the discussion in this SIG. I think Eric has uncovered a loophole in the design of the universe that needs to be considered as part of SIG service catalog.
So I know that Brian and the CNCF have been looking at service management and specifically service catalog. I think, having read the proposal, I think this one is specifically targeted at a service broker API and a service controller proposal. I think that there's some discussion around other companies or other community members also participating in this, and other engineers from Google. I think API management is a potential addition, maybe at a later time. But right now, I think that starting the SIG to focus on service catalog makes a lot of sense, and then we tackle the other parts of service, higher level service management.
Does that fit with your proposal?
I think that it does.
Okay, fantastic. Mostly with these conversations, and so this is now the second or maybe possibly third time we've tried to go through this new SIG proposal process, which basically is, hey, I have an idea for a SIG. We discussed it on the mailing list. People jump in and say yes, no, and then we also mention it on the community conversation, community meeting, in order to find out where there is overlap, what is the actual scope and charter of this, where do we think things fit, and then come to some sort of general consensus or figure out if we need to go back to the drawing board with that. So it's awesome.
And it's good that we do this process specifically to give new people who come to Kubernetes who have questions about this to figure out where to send them as a community to get more answers about their particular problem.
Yep, I would agree 100%, Clayton. Thank you. And so we have done this now with SIG instrumentation, which has just launched and is in the process of launching. It seems as if we're now about to do SIG service catalog. And there is a nascent proposal for SIG Azure, which I have not seen the proposal go out to Kubernetes dev yet, but we may well see one of those in the near term. So because this is one of the methods we're trying to both be intentional about what was starting to be referred to as SIG sprawl, but also making sure that we cover all the things that we need to talk about in groups that make sense. All right, anyone else have things they want to bring up in today's meeting? All right, so then let me go through notices quickly. One, the code freeze is coming, because yes, it is funny to say that again. That is, I believe, Monday now?
Yeah, Monday midnight.
Monday midnight now, right?
Yep.
I couldn't remember if it was this Friday or next Friday. I was hopeful for all of you, but no, it's Monday. So the code freeze is now Monday at midnight Pacific time. Thank you, Eric. Midnight our time, not yours. Midnight Pacific time. Then the other thing that is, of course, an awesome notice is SIG instrumentation is getting itself bootstrapped, and it sounds like we are about to kick off SIG-service-catalog. So those would be my notices for the day. Does anyone else have anything? Aaron, no, we are not going to rename the SIG leads group to SIG sprawl. Thank you for your suggestion. It is duly noted, and yes, you're right. I've also said there are no dumb comments. So, all right, I'm going to still keep that called SIG leads. But thank you all. Does anyone have any other notices they want to put forward?
Did we ever thank you for the birthday party?
We did
that get
not.
mentioned in this
I don't
meeting at
know.
all? So for those of you who were in the area or heard about it, Sarah threw a Kubernetes one-year birthday party at a place in San Francisco, which name escapes me.
Foundry.
The Foundry.
I'm not cool, so I don't know these things. It was great. There were customers there. There was, developers there. There were marketing people there. There were different companies there. People were talking to each other. They were having a good time. It was one of those lots of effort sort of events, and it went fabulously well with crazy video games and crazy conversations, and people really got to know each other. Sarah put a lot of effort into it, and I'm not surprised that she did not bring it up at all in this meeting, because it was effortless for us and a lot of effort for her.
So
and I think we should say that.
I need to call 2 more people out, because they did even more than I did by a lot, which is Bob Herdinsky, marketing for Kubernetes and Google Compute Engine, and he sometimes joins this conversation, but I'm not sure if he's joined us today. And a new program manager on my team that has just joined us, and that's Cameron Zahedi. And he did a whole bunch of work around all of the Kubernetes birthday. So both the local party, which was most of the heavy lifting with Bob, but also the 20 different meetup groups that had Kubernetes birthday events around the world. That was all Cameron, who was making the facilitation of swag look seamless.
So I want to give a shout out to all those people, and there were cool cookies and things. It was a great time. And lastly, encouraging everybody, meetups among ourselves, not just user groups. It's a really low bar. The Storage SIG came about because of one request, and someone just found some space, and it worked out wonderfully to have people together. I think that's basically it. We should all know that breaking our space sometimes in our routine to go meet each other is very valuable.
People are icky and scary.
No, I don't think it's like that. Anyway, Thank you very much, Sarah, and everyone else involved. And that's it.
All right. Anyone else have notices? Thank yous, shout outs. I don't know. Anything else? Nope. Maybe?
There's going to be a ContainerCon on Monday in Toronto. I don't know if anybody's joining there.
Oh, yes, ContainerCon. That's an excellent point. And then there's Cloud Native Day on next Thursday in Toronto as well, which is the Cloud Native Compute Foundation's first one-day event, and that's happening there. If you are at all involved in the CNCF or going to ContainerCon, it's an interesting event that will be happening. Thank you for the...
I think some folks are going.
Some of us, yes. I'm going. I believe David Oppenheimer is going.
I might be going.
Aparna might be going.
David Oppenheimer is definitely going.
Yeah, okay. David Oppenheimer is definitely going. Lachlan appears to be going, or he's raising his hand for fun. Anyone else wants? Rob Lalonde is going. We've got lots of people going. 2 of you are going. All right, Joe's going to be there for a bit. Joseph's going to be there. Wow. All right. It looks to me as if Doug Davis is going to be there. Fantastic. So maybe we should have a little, hey, I bet we're having a little Kubernetes get together there. I will double check on specifics and share that out as well, because and my earlier point about Bob Herdinsky doing marketing, I think he was trying to pull together an event there as well. So I will get specifics and put that in here. All right. Have a lovely week. I am always looking for demos. We scheduled them a week to 2 weeks out. And if anyone has special interest group updates, I'm also always looking for those. So happy Thursday, and I will see you all next week.
Goodbye.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks all.